Attention, citizens. It's time for Super Pulp Science.
This is Super Pulp Science, where we talk about how genre gets made, and myself, Lyndon Rachanka, writer extraordinaire, Justin Curry, long-suffering co-host, and I have already been arguing nonstop. We just turned the mics on so that we could continue the following argument with you, dear listener. Lyndon hates fantasy maps and thinks if you like them, you're the worst.
Who needs
listener.
them? I don't look at them. You don't need to know where they are. If the writer can't explain to me in the words what the map looks like or can't describe the locations, I'm not there for it.
Justin, rebuttal?
Yeah, some of my favorite books start with maps.
Yep.
And it's
Chadwick's going to kill me.
It's that like spark of like, ooh, like I wonder, like you can kind of tell where you start, right? Because there's some kind of safe little pocket located in the map that we start there. And then as you go further out, oh, there's scary looking mountains. And oh, there's like this like terrifying castle like over. I bet you we get there eventually. How do we get there? It's like it just your mind starts working already.
And my contention with this is I also think Lyndon is totally wrong and may in fact be edited completely out of the podcast. There will just be white noise inserted over his comments from now on.
And then you two coming in and trashing me.
That's right.
This is what the media has come to these days.
Oh my God. No, here's my thing. I love a book with maps if I've read it twice.
Yes.
The first time I'm just like, oh, cool, it's a big world, but I don't want to spoil it.
You don't really
so I'm
look
not
at
gonna
it.
read too
You
closely.
refer to the map as you start getting into the like
That's right.
You know, the
As
story.
you become a big nerd for the book, and I mean that in the loving sense. Once you're a nerd for a book, the map is delightful. We just like.
But I mean, I don't read high fantasy, generally speaking.
Low fantasy?
What's low fantasy?
Well, like when you're sad.
Oh.
That's dark fantasy.
Oh my gosh.
You better not be romancing your melancholic solitude.
That'll sell.
It does sell. Dear listeners, you have joined us in an argument, but normally we get along pretty well. I do think, though, that this helps set the tone for being in a room full of people who don't all have the same idea as you, the same needs as you, or the same values as you, which is where I was for 2 days last week at All Access 365, which is Manitoba's series of, this is a quote from their website, it's a series of events designed to strengthen Manitoba's production ecosystem, referring to film, television, all that kind of stuff, which means not the creatives specifically, not that producing is not a creative art, but it's the people who are in the managing position, in the filmmaking position. They're managing groups of riggers, or they're managing the whole production, or they're trying to balance the tax credit, or they're trying to figure out the production windows, schedules, themes, needs, how those people all work together. That's what 365, All Access 365 is for.
Okay. Like a showbiz conference.
That's right. And Manitoba had something like, these were numbers they were bandying about, so I have not confirmed them myself, but something like $400 million in production spending last year.
There's a lot of movies shot in Winnipeg.
Yeah, like a rising amount. And a number of those Manitoban productions made it to Cannes and made it to like big festivals around the world.
Well, what was some big ones recently was Nobody, Mr. Nobody.
And then Nobody 2.
Yeah.
And then
I just recently saw, it's an okay movie, but Orphan, The First Kill or something like that. It's like the second, the Orphan horror movie, right, is about a 30-year-old woman who has like the Benjamin Button disease, so she looks like a little girl. So it's a psychotic woman who looks like a little girl, gets adopted by a family as a 9-year-old, and then like starts killing people, and they don't suspect it's the little girl. But
why would you?
Yeah.
Well, unless you've taught high school, then it's probably.
But then they made a second movie, but the actress who, you know, when she was like 17 and they could make her look quite young, but now she's like in her 20s and they're trying to make a prequel when she's supposed to be even younger. Oops. So they do all these like fun camera tricks, kind of like the Chucky movies where it's like a child stunt double from the back. And then all the talking scenes, you know, she's like on her knees. So the height differences. But that was filmed in Winnipeg as well, and
Oh, interesting.
very obviously filmed in Winnipeg.
And what was it called? Love Hurts or something? The actioner, kung fu, short round from the Goonies, that actor.
Oh, his new movie.
Yeah, that was shot here also.
Oh,
And I can't think of what it's called. Apparently it's pretty good.
but it's cheap. There's all kinds of tax breaks and
Yeah.
like incentives to
Clown in the
film
Cornfield was filmed here. I hung out with
All the Hallmark movies.
all the
all
Hallmark
the
movies.
Hallmark movies. Yes.
The new at least two A24 movies were shot here. Did I just violate somebody's NDA? I'm not sure if I did by doing that. I know the Stephen King movie was shot just recently here, The Long Walk. Or
the
whatever.
Long Walk, the Walk.
So yeah.
Goon.
Anyway, this is and Goon.
Yes.
The reason I
It was
bring this
Love
up-
Hurts. I have that on the list. I have the list.
You have the list.
Yeah.
We don't need the list.
Okay.
The dear listener can
They
look
get
up the same list.
There's a lot of movies.
The point is, a bunch of people from not in the province come to the province to make their movie. And so the production of those films is pertinent to us as genre makers, because my contention is, why do you have to sell your IP to someone in America just so they can then come back to Manitoba to produce the film, television elements? It's broken. And so my reason for going to All Access was strictly as professional development. I wanted to go and see what is really going on. I've been to All Access a number of times, but in this particular instance, my secret curriculum was, what are the moving parts and why do you have to play the shell game of the IP has to leave its rights holder before it can come back to be produced in your home province?
The head of the beast is in LA, and the tail of the beast, where things actually get made, is down here.
Well, it's not as simple as that, and that was kind of a fun thing to elucidate, was to realize that. So a couple of speakers there were people from Telefilm, there were people from the media funds in Canada, there were people who were major production companies and minor production companies, all having these roundtable discussions in and around the assembled group. So
And is there like a big incentive to like set up meetings? Like a lot of
Yes.
these companies they're all coming together and they're just
Then you
having
could
back-to-back meetings.
So you have one day of professional development where you're listening to everyone speak and you can ask questions. It's like classroom sort of at the Fort Garry Hotel. And then the day after, you can come for one-on-one meetings that you book and schedule to have kind of speed dating with very specific folks.
Yes.
So in that context, it was really nice to be, and I mean this really sincerely, it was really nice to be in a room full of people who were way better and had way more experience than me at the thing I was interested in.
So you're used to Comic-Cons where you've kind of figured some things
I've
out.
figured out enough
and-
to be dangerous.
Right.
Thanks.
And there's like at conventions these days, you're not as interested in a lot of the talks and workshops because it's a lot of people who are getting started, and it's for people who are like breaking into the industry for the first time. And now finally you are that person. You're somebody's breaking into the industry.
Well, and that's
kinda
it.
new.
When people ask me to come and speak on those things, and I feel, and I was saying this to Tara, I feel wholly inexperienced in my job as a creative compared to my idols. But since everything is a degree and not a category, right, you can be brought in at any level to discuss where you're at.
Yeah.
And so it was really interesting for me to be at All Access and watch people who have helmed multi-million-dollar productions or $15, $20 million television series multiple times. And all of them had the same basic thing to say about the industry. No one has any idea what's going to happen next. They're convinced the entire system is going to collapse. The head of every industry said the same kind of thing. And so I'll paraphrase that you want to imagine a person clinging to the side of a brick wall and sliding down it while their fingernails are getting bloody and torn and their fingers are being worn down to stumps as they cling and try to climb back up to the way it was. But it will never be the way it was.
Yeah, my wife left me. Said she was sick of hockey. Sick of hockey. I'm sorry.
And is this a result of streaming?
result of a number of things: economic forces, streaming, the glut of information that people
Right.
have, the amount of content people expect, the quality of content people will consume, even though it isn't of
Yeah,
quality.
like how ridiculous is it that somebody on YouTube can put out 2 hours of content 3 times a week,
Right.
and people will consume that? How is a
And a show
studio?
might cost $2 million an episode for an hour, each of those hours.
I think Severance is $14 million an episode. What? Yeah, ridiculous. But like if you're making movies, that's got to be a little disheartening to know that people can get these crazy numbers just making
No.
this.
There's nothing wrong with it. And that was the other kind of cool thing, is that the real stakeholders weren't saying, we got to stop it, we got to
Right.
change it, in fact, it was the opposite. The people who kind of, I think, are going to be the tastemakers of the next few decades were saying the entire industry needs to collapse. There needs to be a major calamity. They were all admitting there will be enormous collateral damage, but the result will be a better, stronger, fairer industry
The
where
forest
people
needs to burn down so we can get some new growth and
That's
some
kind
better.
of it.
Yeah.
a number of
I feel like
talks.
there's a lot of that going around right now.
Yeah, that was kind of the vibe, right? And also, there were people from all the different unions were there speaking, and even they were saying our union structures are good for protecting workers, but they're so outmoded that they don't allow for pivots towards new workers that also need protection. So, for example, if you're, as a current member of the teachers union, right, I can speak to this. If you're in the union, you like being in a union because you have this big group that protects you when things go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're trying to get similar work based on merit, the union can say, well, no, you got to get in line. You got to start at the bottom before you can get that pay
Right.
scale. Though you may have already, in a parallel industry, all the skills you require, all the experience you require. You just didn't do it inside the union structure.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we marry two groups of people who are equally skilled at a livable wage and not pit them against each other in an adversarial way to say, no, that should be a union job, right? Get out of here, kid, when that kid is actually the only one who can do that job because it's new technology or a new idea or a new way of doing things. So this whole thing was part of what was being discussed there, and watching people sweat and fear and it was awesome.
Yeah, there's no easy answers there.
Yeah.
It's
So, and then also, dear listener, I will say this, and to you, Justin, and to you, Lyndon, we've been doing everything right. If you are a person writing and creating your own work and you're working hard to hold on to your rights, that's what you should be doing. Don't be giving your rights away for a song. Hold on to them. Yes, you'll have less money at the beginning, but the value of those rights continue to increase, and your audience is the only thing that anyone values.
Does it comfort you guys or discourage and frustrate you guys that there is no right answer, set path for being a creative and doing creative work?
On even days, it comforts me, and on odd days, it angers me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because every success story, is just bumbling mistake after bumbling mistake that somehow results in amazingness at the end of the day. But nobody,
Absolutely true. Yeah. And specific to that idea of the bumbling success, I had some really interesting meetings, and one of the things that came up in one of them, was our organization, which is very large, is best suited to capitalize on a sudden accidental success. That's what we're good at. We can't pick the success, right? They won't say oh, I know for sure by looking at this that it will be the next big thing. All I can promise you is that if it is the next big thing, we have the capital in place to get it to everyone.
This is J Ball's explanation for why you need a publisher.
That's
If it's a success, you don't have $80,000 to print thousands and thousands
That's
of
right.
books,
You
but
can't
they are
scale
ready
up.
for it.
Yeah, and they're ready for it. And one of the themes of All Access this year was related to sustainability and avoiding greenwashing in the production or the use of sustainability. So greenwashing is when a company, of course, claims they're making an environmental impact, but all they've done is change the name on something and really.
And they're
have no
cracking down on that now, right? Like
That's right.
people are investigating these
Yeah.
claims, and you can actually now be like, not that long ago, you couldn't be fined or really
That's right.
held accountable. You could just say
Yeah.
whatever you wanted.
You used to be able to say, Justin, smoking's good for you, and doctors
That's
say
right.
so. But now you can't. And the same thing's happening with greenwashing. And so one company that I think is really one innovation that came up. So the film industry constantly uses diesel fuel to run their generators to have electric power when they're shooting. Behind the fast fashion, the film industry is one of the world's top polluters. Right? So it is horrible. But one person pointed out that in 20 years of working on film sets, he kept noticing that they were always running their diesel generators beside power lines. And couldn't you just invent a way to tie into the power line and then not need to run diesel? And so they did.
Yeah.
And now he saves his film company $150,000 a year in diesel fuel by simply being able to legally and correctly and safely connect to the existing power grid. And so the idea being that if you are being sustainable, you can also save money, means now people care all of
But yeah, you have to kind of recognize and punish this behavior before people bother to
That's right.
look for other solutions, right? It's-
Wait, you're telling me the stroke of genius was, hey, we have some stuff that needs power.
Yeah.
We should plug it in.
That's right. That was the stroke of genius. Yeah, that was the stroke of genius. What I mean, and so where I fit into that was talking to a number of people. They were asking what sustainable elements are in our publishing. So when we did Cassian Tonk and Rust and Water and Dragon Nanny, there's a certain percentage of recycled materials that went into those books, which we asked for. That's at our cost. There's no cost saving for using recycled material. But I was talking with one line producer that was saying, okay, so if we could suddenly sell 100,000 of your books, how would that change your model? And I explained that we could go from 15% recycled material to 25 or 50 because the cost per unit would drop at scale. That would make it more useful and sustainable to use more recycled material. And the thought had literally never occurred to that person. That like, oh, right, cost per unit adjustment isn't just for extracting profit. You could actually use it for a so like these conversations were all being had and they were very fun to be a part of and also to just like I took like pages and pages of notes while I was there and learned a ton of stuff that I didn't know beforehand. So
you came away with some emails and people to follow up with. Are people looking for you to pitch them projects, or you're looking to get involved with current projects, or what's your goal here? What's your angle?
Great question.
Your angle, Greg.
Yeah. Yes.
How are you going to turn this passion into a hustle?
Yeah. How do we hustle? Well, we also figured out that, okay, so we may not be big, but we're small, to borrow from Stuart McLean, as I often do. When we made Prince and the Dragon, one of the bugs was
short film that Gregory worked on.
Right. Long feature length horror film. Yeah. We only had a short time to make it, though, and a very short amount of money and a very short amount of talented people that we could have for a short time. And so it feels like, oh, there's no way that this can succeed. And then you sit down with these producers that say, wait, if you can make your production for under $150,000, you are in the sweet spot to actually be able to own it outright, to make a profit, and to not have to worry about whether or not the streamer is lowballing you, because even their lowball will be kind of on side. Right. It's when your production is $14 million.
Well, that's how you get those $14 and $25 million things, is you make something for next to no money, right? How many directors got hired off of YouTube shorts, right? The guy who did Chronicle, he got hired based off a 5-minute short he did on YouTube for zero money.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? They see what you can do with no budget, so they give you a budget.
But the change that's happening in the conversation, I don't think it's happening on screen yet. The change is, you don't want more money. The change is, if you can do it for 150, I'll give you 150, do it again.
Right.
And I'll give you 150 next year, do it again. Why don't you have a job where for $150,000 a year, you make a movie a year every year for $150,000, and then we'll pay you.
Instead of giving you $10 million
right.
and losing $9 million, right?
You know what's hard work? Going through a divorce. She's trying to get all my money now. She can have half of it. I don't give a shit. The other half, hard work, mine.
And so if you were working at scale, then you could finish that production within 6 months. And so it's actually worthwhile because you can do other things with that other time, right? And wild.
You're telling me the indie comics model is coming to film?
100%.
That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
When they started Image.
Yeah, make it first. See if there's an audience. And if there is an audience, don't try to grow the audience. Try to increase the professional level of the content.
Well, the
first.
other thing that's really exciting about this is when you're working with a smaller budget, you can be more experimental. You can take chances.
Yeah.
You can do something exciting and new. But when you're working with, you have a $200 million film budget.
Enjoy
you have
your
to be
committee.
so safe,
Yeah.
right? Like there's so many people's jobs and careers, and there's a reason big movies are safe because they have to be.
Yeah.
And even if you just use the super micro budget film level of $2 million, if somebody gave you and I $2 million and we lost it, no one would ever give us money ever again. But if you got $150,000 and you completed a feature film that made half that money back, they will give you that money again because you have not risk not thy whole wad, as the expression goes, right? Is that it's so manageable in the loss column that you can try and try again and try something new and try something different, and nobody is at risk, and you have only used 10 or 15 days of people's time in production as opposed to a whole year or 2 years of their time.
If I gave you $2 million, what would you do with it?
I would put it in account, collect the interest,
Oh.
and keep doing exactly what I'm doing now.
Boo.
I mean, but
$2 million for a project.
I have to spend it. Is this like
Yeah.
that Richard Pryor movie?
Yes.
where
Yeah.
it gets-
I'm gonna make you hate money.
Yeah, you have to spend all the money. I've got $2 million,
Yeah.
and I'm not allowed to invest any of it. I have to spend
It's
all of
for
it.
a project.
You have to put it into an art project?
Yeah.
Does
what
it
would
have
you
to be
guys do?
one project?
I think, so my mind immediately went to like some kind of small film combined with like a graphic novel launch and some kind of,
I would make 10 $200,000
Yeah.
film projects.
well, that sounds like a TV show.
Could I hire Leo DiCaprio to be like a ghostwriter on it and we'll berserker the whole thing?
Kidding.
You mean Keanu Reeves?
No, Keanu Reeves is already involved in Berserker. I want a different actor
Why Leo DiCaprio?
because he's also huge.
I don't know that. Now, this is not based on anything I know for real.
Yeah, we don't know if he's into comics enough.
No, I just don't know if he's into being a regular human being enough to like spend time in a room. I don't think anyone who's that level, that has had that level of fame, exposure,
Oh, we're gonna get
Like,
Tom Cruise.
right? No, this is what I'm saying.
We
Like,
know he likes made up stories.
it's the way William Gibson says that the phenomenally rich are no longer even remotely human.
Oh, you could do your let's make a book and get it into every school for free
Now we're talking.
thing.
Like if I had my druthers for what I'd spend $2 million on, it would be getting a group of people who I know have
Oh, bullpen.
excellent mic skills, excellent transferable skills, are great at teaching, and I would put them on a Canada-wide tour of schools doing workshops, week-long
So
workshops.
not start like a school, but like a traveling troupe.
That's right. A troupe of people who are really good at it, who are really giving, who are really great at being around big groups of young people who are great at like this is a hard thing to find, but if you find those people, then you take them around. You can't be what you can't see, so then you show schools all over Canada and young people all over Canada, the ways that they can make their ideas into something real.
Love it. Well, Lyndon, yeah, your
I bet
wheels
you-
are turning.
I bet you could buy some really good liquidated IP assets that you could then like make whatever you wanted out of.
Rocket Robin Hood.
Okay. Rocket Robin Hood is, I think, in the public domain now. We waited for the lawyer to die who used to own.
They've been watching, dear.
Yeah, we've been watching. Yeah. I'm actually really nervous to talk about it because they were really litigious and sued everyone for the most minor grievances. So, I mean, totally reasonable grievances, and the,
Not sure if he's still around.
yeah, the views of Gregory Kamichuk do not reflect on the other co-hosts, and these are mine and mine alone. So
Quick,
Jake.
Dan. Cut to commercial.
I cut to commercial.
I love the idea of like a huge tour bus with a bunch of talented artists going like school visits, book events, Comic Cons, like a Canadian wide tour. If you had like an unlimited budget and like I'm just going to hire me and like my
I don't
talented
think you need a
friends for
big
couple
budget
months.
for what you're talking about.
I looked into buses at one point. It's pretty
like a big tour bus to
Yeah.
go across, like a
like a rock star.
Like a van bus?
like a
Yeah.
rock star
Yeah,
bus.
like
Traveling like
a
rock star.
medium level band bus because the rock stars fly everywhere.
That's right. They
Yeah,
fly,
it's true.
Yeah, 'cause it ruined rock and roll. Aircraft ruined rock and roll. We just watched Almost Famous with my kids over the weekend, so
It's a great movie.
it is
a great film.
It's quite good.
I think the Buffy rights are available. Maybe
Mm.
I saw they lapsed.
Yeah,
They definitely
no,
lapsed.
you're like, as long as we're wisping dream smoke around, if you've got real capital, then the thing you do is you split it and you spend $1 million on talent producing quality work.
Oh, just put together a think tank and
Yeah, and then you spend $1 million, like in our business, producing the physical objects themselves. You split it completely between marketing and production on the one for $1 million, and
Okay,
actually
so
paying
you-
creatives.
you got $1 million, so you're gonna rent out a space, hire a bunch of people, give them a timeline. By the money runs out
You're right.
February 1st,
That's
right? Make your stuff. You've got like 2 years.
It's Silicon Valley style.
Yeah, love it.
Because we love to be like a Silicon Valley around here.
Well,
Yeah.
as long as we're pre-revenue, just be pre-revenue.
That show was kind of stressful.
It
You're
is.
either rolling in it or destitute,
Yeah, you could.
and it was just yo-yoing back and forth between those two things.
You
the
could
entire
give
show.
20 people $100,000. You could give 40 people $50,000.
I think smaller. Keep it smaller.
So you give 100 people $20,000 to make their
No. Like
like a smaller group, more money.
yeah.
Oh, you want cigars, Cuban cigars, and
I-
foot massages and
I want a
smoothies.
Silicon Valley style like workspace with nap sections.
See, and I want to cut it as finely,
masseuses and
like
yeah.
thin pieces of.
You want a
lunch.
warehouse.
Justin wants to own a Tesla.
Oh my God, no, I don't.
Not
want that.
anymore.
No, what I mean is like imagine take $1 million, divide it into $20,000 chunks, and make those endowment funds, a few per province, to find people who the one barrier between them making their work is that they need at least
Yeah.
to be paid for their time to do it,
Mhm.
and pay them for their time to do it, and then see which ones are any good. Bet on the jockeys, not the horses, right?
One of us needs to win the lottery. I want to do one of these. Come on.
So there were a lot of problems with all the money that came with the success of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But one thing that Eastman and Layard did, both of them did it differently, but they took huge portions of that wealth, that sudden wealth that they got from licensing the Ninja Turtles as toys, and put it into publishing. Kitchen Sink Press is one I can think of where they just went to Comic-Con one year and greenlit everyone's project and gave all those people living wages, and so many great comics works of the last decade are a result of that seed money. Like it started so many careers and so many people's. And I think, if you got it all from the arts as a sudden windfall, maybe that's where you should give it back. But, I live in Canada, so these are the kinds of ideas we grow here.
Okay, Siegfried, let's go, Roy. Eye of the fucking tiger.
And part of me does miss, like when I used to work in video games, just that being able to see everybody's project chipping away at a daily basis. Like, and that's what I love about the studio here too, is like getting to see the progress of things happening. So if something like this were to happen, I love the idea of just bringing more people together in a common space and being able to see things develop rather than throwing money and then seeing what happens a year later with it, right? Like I love working with other artists and seeing their work a bit at a time.
We've lucked out here at the studio, but one thing I think you'd really need in a group of mercurial creators, the first person to probably hire is a strong HR person.
That's Dan. We have an HR person.
Well, sort of, but he just calls bullshit. No, he doesn't really become a middle ground for anybody, right? Like, it's because what I mean is
Can't trust an HR person.
right? No, listen. What I mean is creative people sometimes are very passionate. And when a passionate person is under pressure of deadline, they're not always the best to be around. And we've lucked out in having a pretty good group here that takes its time away when they're like really overwhelmed. But sometimes people bring all that to work instead. So like if you were really going to do it, I think you would really need that person that was a strong referee. But then everyone would have to trust and like them also, which is a whole other thing.
Egos, listener. He means egos.
Yeah, egos are dangerous. They're dangerous. Yeah, it's a little... Speaking of ego death, I am editing Sky Devil and the Haunted Air right now, which goes to press at the end of the week, theoretically, if I haven't fucked it all, ruined it all. Beep. When I mentioned that I was in Deadline Crunch, you also said something I thought was really funny and prescient. You said, and I quote now, dear listener, the first 85% of your book, once you get there, when you cross the 85% mark, you feel thrilled. You're so close. It's almost done.
The happiest I am with all my books is at that 85% completion mark, because you're really proud of how everything's coming together. You can see the end in sight. It's just like you're just filled with hope. And then that last 5 or 10% of the book, you always are surprised by how much work
That's
there's
where my
left
back
to do.
sweats.
Yeah.
It's that last 10%.
It's 15%, dear listener. We're minusing 85%.
No. Like, that's...
You get it to 85, you're looking... You're saying,
Looks good at 85.
It's like that...
From 85 to 90. Yeah, okay,
Now
all right.
You're starting to stress out. It's that last 5% where you start, like, you're astonished at how much work there still is to do, and how did you not realize there was all these little things you needed to fix and adjust, and
like, for example...
oh God.
For example, on Sky Devil and the Haunted Air, written by Rick Overwater and created and illustrated by yours truly, we did a substantive edit. He workshopped the novella heavily with his his own first readers. We thought it was tight.
Yep.
Then we gave it to Sam, and she pushed it down the stairs and shook a few bolts and things loose. And we thought, okay, we're good now. And then now it has to pass. Right now, I can see Dr. Jonathan Ball in the corner with his laser eyes scouring. And he has found, at least in the last 2 hours, 15, 20 errors that on a first pass look, these are an extra space somewhere in the manuscript, an extra dash that's not supposed to be there, an M dash that's not accurate, a indent that is not precise because it's got an extra space, like the kind of stuff that I would and did miss, that you say to yourself, oh, well, the last thing to do is just have Jonathan look at it. So that becomes one box on your list, right? And when we're talking about that 5%,
Yeah.
and then that box turns into 100 small changes to the document.
Dr. Jonathan Ball, who is not at all busy all the time.
That's right. And so this was a sudden deadline. And this is, I will say, this is Jonathan's fault that we have this problem. Rick and I were originally going to do this as a short run, whatever project, like something fun, pulpy, set in the World War, weird thing. Maybe we'll print 100 of them. Who cares if anyone likes it? We just
That
want
sounds
to
like
do it,
no pressure.
right? That's no exactly. And so we thought we'll also have it maybe for Calgary, if not for sure by October. No pressure.
So that's
Right?
either an April deadline or October
Yeah.
deadline. That's
No problem. No problem.
Lots of time.
So
eons away.
then we said maybe this could be at arm's length a stranger fiction book. We could register it, and then it'll give us a little bit of dear listener, in Canada, it's good if your book is published by a publisher, even if there isn't a huge amount of publisher support, because then it qualifies as being peer reviewed rather than,
Feels like a
self-published.
small-time crook bringing in a mob boss to
That's
help out with the
exactly right.
little,
Yeah.
little
So,
heist.
and then the problem was I got this text from Jonathan saying, hey, this Overwater guy can really write. This book is super fun. Maybe this should be a legit Stranger Fiction title. Okay, let's get quotes from Friesens. Let's get the printer engaged. Let's look at how that would all mean. Well, if we're going to do that, can we print it in color? Oh, I think we could. If we had it in color and we're going to do it, shouldn't it then go to the biggest show that Rick is going to be at in the calendar year, which is that's the Calgary Comic-Con. Oh,
If you need it for then, you need to be at print at least a month beforehand.
Exactly.
Right.
5 weeks.
Which means we have to be done the edit when we got that notice in the next 10 days. So right?
Such a scary sentence. In the next 10
That's
days.
right. And so suddenly it went from, we have all this time to a deadline that was inserted. Now, dear listener, if you've been following along other episodes recently, you will know
Just how our life works.
Yeah. But you will also know that I am right up against the edits of Blood Letters also, which have to be laid out and prepared for that publisher. Now, their publishing window is not until the fall, but to have all the metadata and everything regular, like they have wider distribution and more of those channels. And so that stuff all has to be done way early.
Yeah.
And their design team also works in blocks. So I have to fit it in when that designer is laying out 4 other books. They also have to lay out mine in the same block. So
Do
it's
you
not
also constantly lie to yourself that once this is done, then you'll take a little bit of a break before?
No.
100%. That meme.
Gregor doesn't
listen,
do that.
But listen, Tara and I were joking about that meme floating around. I think you probably saw it too. Being an adult is telling yourself things will slow down next week until you're dead.
I didn't see that, but I'm just constantly lying to myself that once this is done, then I can slow down.
That just
And I've
means
been
you're an
telling
adult
myself
now.
that for the last 8 years.
8 years, yeah. Next week, things will be slower.
Once this project's wrapped up, then I can take a breather.
Take a breather. But usually in our case, when that project's wrapped up, we are immediately getting on a plane to promote the last project that we said when it was done.
And then when you're
Take a
at
break.
that event, you're inspired to take
Oh,
on.
I got a new idea.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yes. In fact, last year at this time is how Skydevil and the Haunted Air began. So any longtime fan of my work will know that I have been selling prints of Skydevil cigarettes, which is just this silly ad, a wartime ad for this cigarette company that has a mascot of this guy named Skydevil, an air ace. That's as far as it got. As far as character development went, was I designed what would be the kind of evil character a cigarette company would have put on their branding if in World War I, Lovecraftian monsters and H.G. Wells' tripods were also attacking the Earth, right? This was like a silliest conceit. And so I made a Skydevil cigarettes ad. And I think smoking is one of the evilest things that has ever been foisted upon humankind.
Yeah.
A medicine that got turned into a poison. And so I thought it was funny. It fit into my propaganda space. And then Rick said, I'd really like to do a project with you where you illustrate it and I write it and maybe we could create it together. And I said, I have the character that has not come to life the way I've had time to bring him to life. And it's this Skydevil guy. And I had 3 prints and I said, take this character and put him in these 3 situations, which were covers of fake World War weird events. If you write that book, I'll illustrate it.
I love that as a prompt too. It's not too specific.
Yeah.
It's not too broad. It's it's a great writing prompt.
Yeah, he said, what are the key features? And I wrote just a few of the basic features of the
Not a
character.
huge story Bible, just bullet points.
Just some bullet points. And I said, here's 3 things on each of these images that I would want to include that I think are core, and thread the needle between those things any way you want and make up any part you want. And any part you make up, you own it. It'll be your copyright on those parts you've made up. And dear listener, you know this. If you've been to shows, Lyndon, you know this too. People come to you all the time and say, wouldn't it be cool if we worked on a project? And what you say to them is, great, do your part, and then I'll start mine. And I would say in the last year, 100 people have asked me to do that. And I said, cool, do your part, and then I'll do mine.
Do they do their part?
Though they don't,
No,
but they mean well.
they do. They're excited about the idea. It is an exciting idea.
I would say a month or 2 after the Calgary Comic-Con last year, Rick said, here's the novella. Done.
Yeah.
He said, I still have to workshop it. I still have to make it good.
That's a professional.
Right? And I said, oh, shit, now I have to do my part. So suddenly it went from,
You just act like the other person doesn't exist and it's all on you.
That's
And,
right.
Yeah.
and that's what he did. And then suddenly I had to come in and do the other part. And so that part was fun, but it was a sudden book.
You try any of that shit you did against Hamilton on me, I'll light your fucking ass up.
Hey, I'll let your ass back up on fire.
I've had other projects that are slowly creeping towards completion, but it's
Like which, Gregory?
like,
Like which?
for example,
Like which?
there's this really cool project called The Year Away where I'm the asshole on it because I'm the one way behind. And you know who the writer is? Who's done all his work?
Who do you think it is? Justin?
I wonder.
Let's
It's-
guess.
It's not me.
Why do you think it's not me?
It's not me.
But he's in this room.
He's on this show.
He's on this show.
He's definitely not upset about it.
He's not upset. He's not
that.
salty at all. He's been very patient. But I will tell you that that work is coming along very well.
But once the book is out, you don't think about this part anymore. Like books take a long time. It's never as smooth as you think. But once it's out, you never think about.
No, it's literally
It's-
water under the bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, as soon as if it gets finished.
Yeah. Then everything's fine.
Let me ask that. Is that true to you? So here's the phrase, dear listener. This is my contention because I think I believe this. No matter the promises that were made along the way, as long as the book got finished, almost everything is forgiven,
Yeah.
right? Like no matter the foibles or the tensions or the whatever, as long as you actually both did your parts, nobody, crossed any real lines like criminal line. You can kind of forgive any blow up, any argument, any.
It's all
tension.
worth it in the end.
If
Yeah.
is it true? Do you guys think that's true?
I want,
want to
optimistically, I want to believe so and say yes, but I say that having never experienced working with an artist who has, blown a major deadline or
Yeah.
the book hasn't been done on time and that means like the publishing deal is canceled, which are things that actually
They
happen.
do happen. Yeah. Have you ever had your work substantively edited without your approval and then sent to press?
No.
I've had my artwork edited and sent to press. I've had my writing changed and sent to press, and that feels like you're going to burn down the world. But like a year later, you kind of don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like that emboldens people to think it's the right choice.
Hmm.
How much, so we're dealing with this right now on a project, how much do you think by percentage of your work that went into a project you would allow to be changed without your feathers ruffling? By percentage.
I guess you have to kind of
Imagine that
quantify
can-
changes.
That's right. Imagine there can be no zero. Someone's going to change something. What percentage, and you can use decimals if you'd like. What
And
percentage
are we
would
talking
you allow?
like layout? Are we talking like the art itself?
Yeah.
Are we?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Oof. I guess how much do you trust these people? Because I've worked with publishers who have no design background and no artistic skill.
Oh yeah, you had it totally redone.
Yeah.
On you. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
If I'm trying to think of it from a writing perspective, my instinct was to say 5 to 10%. But I don't know that would encompass, like, my editor cannot write a new scene for my book
Right.
and insert it into the
So
book.
5 or 10%, that means like 10% means 1 in every 10 words they can change in your
Well,
novel?
that's the
I
question.
think we have to talk about what they're doing. If they're doing 5 and 10% and it's just a medium-sized publisher, but if it's 50% and they're a huge publisher and getting this all over the world, like
That's an interesting point.
right,
Like, what is the reach?
client scale
well, it also,
depends.
The devil's bargain.
if you change a percentage of the project, but that project still at its core is the same, like the message is the same or the vibe, quote unquote vibe
Yeah.
is the same and the changes are for the better, then you would accept those.
Okay.
But if you perceive them to be lateral changes or to negatively impact
Right.
the book, we're
So-
talking about something different.
Now, rather than speak generally, I'll speak really specifically about people we trust. So I will often have loud arguments with Jonathan about certain grammatical preferences. But the truth is, I believe it in my heart, and he can hear me while I say it, I would say 95% of the time, he's 100% right. Like, there's no wiggle room. Like, I'm arguing during that 95%, but I should just give up because I'm wrong, right? He's better at it than I am. And 5% is colloquialism. It's about cadence or style, which is a mistake you want to make all the time, right?
Yeah.
Or Samantha is a good one for a substantive. She may come in and say, your character motivations, turn that dial.
These are changes that really don't affect the end product too much. But on the other end of that spectrum is, I'm going to change your character's name from Ted.
Right. To Wilhelmina.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be somewhat problematic. But
And I want to do that just to leave sometimes I just want to leave my mark on it. I want to be more involved with this project.
see my previous rants. I don't get angry on the podcast very much, but dear listener, if you're looking for one, find one where I'm talking about lateral changes and you can just hear my blood percolating. If you're making a lateral change, meaning that the actual content has changed not at all, you've just moved sideways.
Yeah.
Like instead of the character standing this to the left, he's going to stand to the right. It doesn't change the plot, the beat, or the emotion. I just wanted to make sure as an editor I got to change something.
Right.
That stuff pisses me off. Yeah. Well,
Feels like, it's always, it feels to me a lot of times like it's them trying to justify their worth, right? Like, why am I involved with this project if I'm not doing something here and something there? And I get that too. You don't want to like just pass it on and collect your paycheck without really doing anything. But
but why not if they're good?
I think probably the more experienced ones do that.
Yeah.
But especially when you're starting out or you've got that bit of an ego on you, you want to leave your mark on that project.
And then, okay, I'll just flip to the other side. There is an argument to be made that, of course, we're too close to the project.
Yep.
We like it too much. We can't see the forest for the trees. We don't understand how the market force is going to respond or how the bookseller
Somebody
is
else
gonna
knows
respond.
better than you.
Someone else down there is an argument, and I have ceded control in many cases before because the argument was made convincingly like, yes, that's true in your case when you're selling direct from a Comic-Con, but remember that a bookseller has to see this, a book rep has to see this, a distributor has to see this, and they all have different gates to pass through.
Yeah, and the color green is really in the season. So we're going to put a green wash over every single thing.
Oh, but yes, that does happen. I feel very well cared for on the Bloodletters book, that the designer is someone, and since I didn't ask if I could talk about,
conversations with
I
it.
can have,
There you go.
phone rang, we started chatting, everything was good.
Even there. Yeah.
And this is a place I haven't been in before, Justin. So I'll be interested when the end result is in from Bloodletters. I would love to show it to everyone. I'm giving a designer elements.
And
then
toolkit.
They are going to, because they have much more experience in the mass market doing layouts and tightening and having it pass through those normal gates, kind of, I don't know what you call it. They're going to just do a pass on it that they think will make it a little more palatable to a broader audience without changing the core.
Yeah, I'd like to see this.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to
Interesting.
that.
Yeah.
So stay tuned, dear listener, to whether I'm raging or whether I'm thrilled. But I really like this person, so that part's going to be easy to, even if I don't like their...
So the betrayal is going to be that much worse.
No, it's actually like, it's totally if a stranger tells me they want to change everything, I immediately resist it. You guys can tell me your experiences. But if someone who is familiar with the work or with me as a person says, no, I have to change everything, I'm way more likely to agree.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
But you always seek feedback from people whose opinions you trust.
Yeah.
Someone, the amount of people who say they don't care for something, but also they don't read or watch these sorts of things to begin with. Like
sometimes that's good.
Like people who don't read maps.
Yeah. Well, those people are the worst.
They
like
are.
People who don't like maps in the front of book. But okay, all joking aside, you and Lyndon and Justin, represent two different kinds of readers who like books for different reasons. And that is part of a design feature. And if a publisher specifically targets Lyndon's in their marketing,
they should.
Then they would probably cross out the idea for maps, and they wouldn't be wrong if a significant number of Lyndons show up whenever their books come out. and the Justins are the same, right? So those are the gates that you're aiming for when you are with specific publishers.
You want the easy way to sell books? Include maps.
You know what I'll also say is, dear listener, if you are listening to us thinking you will ever have a say in your book cover, you are wrong. Most publishers won't give you a say at all. So don't hear us and think, oh, I'll have a say in my book cover. No, you won't.
If you're at that scale where you're working with a publisher and you don't have control over your cover, that you're
a
dealing
big
with a
deal.
big publisher and you're doing okay.
Yeah. If you are with a real small publisher and they're not giving you a say, I think you should be concerned because they don't have the wide enough reach to know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And if you're with a huge publisher and they're like, no, leave it to us,
Trust them.
I think it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. If they have
Means they-
published books on the New York Times bestseller list, I think it's safe to say they're up to it. Oh, you know what? I think this is important. You did that silently, but it's important for Dan to know that you are holding the line. You have learned from the producer well, and Lyndon just held up a little piece of paper that reminded me that we're at the 50-minute mark.
Okay, we're almost done. You have a convention coming up this weekend.
Oh my gosh, that is so true.
Did I just remind you?
No, but I had compartmentalized the stress for it. I'd pushed it down so that it wouldn't release until after we'd done the edits today.
Okay.
So what you've done is actually you perforated, and there's like a whistling little leak of stress now as I have to prepare for that.
What convention is this weekend?
This is
Brandon.
the Western Gaming Convention. We went last year.
That's a marathon. Is it a different weekend this year then?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it was later.
was-
I think it was
I
in
think it
May
was
last year.
February.
No.
There was a snowstorm. I got snowed in.
Yeah.
Oh.
Here's what I'm
But
mostly.
you didn't go last year.
I did.
Here's what I'm mostly
Which
looking
one did
forward to.
Gregory and Jonathan go to? That was the gaming one in Brandon?
Prairie Con.
That's what I'm thinking of. That's in May.
Same city,
Okay.
different convention.
Comment
different
retracted.
Organizers.
Yeah. And this one, I really wanted to go and make it a family trip, but because it's a gaming convention, the hours are quite long,
they are.
and all my nephews are quite young, and nephews and nieces are quite young and have bedtimes. And so by the time I did the convention, I wouldn't be able to visit. And so I'm not making it this year, but
Yeah.
I'm still sad.
I'm looking forward to it. The director of our film, Miles Crossman, lives in Brandon. So
All your friends are adults that are out there.
and so I'll be able to double duty. I'll be able
Yeah.
to work all day and then work all night and then work all day and then work all night and then come home. So that's gonna be great. And I mean that sincerely. Like, a gaming convention is a very different space for me. This is the year of the dice for Gregory. I have Danger in the Details, codified rules system. I actually have to pick up a draft from the printer as soon as we're done this podcast. I have printed editions of Kill the Sorcerer, of Mutants of the Blood Pit, of Stonekeepers of the Once Land, Incident at Gloom Lake,
Something of the other thing.
Princess
Third thing
and
of the other
Dragon,
thing.
all these different fun role-playing game supplements to try and take and see how the market responds. And different than the book stuff, which I consider to be a core business, the gaming stuff I am completely content to fail utterly.
If it's a lost cost, a sunk
like-
cost, you're completely okay with it.
Well, in the pursuit of an actual better game for players, I don't mind if players play it and then give feedback pointing out the broken parts. That's the stage I'm in now.
Right.
And technology has
You can
reached
print just a little bit at a time.
we can
so
do
you-
50 or 100
yeah.
and see.
So you really, it's not a huge upfront investment at this
That's
point.
right.
Yeah, your other books, your other prints have more than covered the cost for experimenting with us, which is like one of the strengths of the studio. We can experiment with different mediums and different things like this and see if they work. And if they do, we can follow it. And if they don't, whatever, we'll try something else next month.
Yeah. So, dear listener, our last thought related to that then is one of the ways we do it at the studio. Let's imagine you have 5 different weird ideas and you tell yourself, if these 2 get out of the red into the black, I'll try this third one. And it's okay if it's in the red, as long as it's not in the red more than the black of the other 2, right? It's those kinds of considerations. So, dear listener, whether you are a person who likes maps at the front of a book, which means you're a person of discerning taste, excellent quality,
No sense of direction, no imagination.
deepening pathos, or you're a person who doesn't like maps, I want you to know that there's a place for you in our world, and we'll forgive you all of your weaknesses, your failings, your lack of character, in the pursuit of something greater to put on our map. This has been Super Pulp Science. I am GMB Kimichek, encouraging you to join the fight and make comics.